the one only Despotic, bring you guys another gameplay commentary. This is another Frozen clip. So I usually set up the scenario, and then I discuss like what went on in the scene, and so I've always wanted to make this video. It will rub a few people, undoubtedly, it will rub a few people the wrong way because apparently, no matter what you do, when you try to bring just some kind of logic to a particular game, people just don't like it. Like, take your logic and shove it. And I understand that. I get it. This is just my opinion. It can be countered, of course. All right, so let's get to it. So you have a lot of these players that, you know, like they only focus on deeps. That's all they focus on. Especially, well, PvE, I can understand why if you're DPS, damage per second, you would focus on deeps. However, when it comes to PvP and you are a solo player, right? Solo, I'm not speaking about small groups. And to me, small groups, the most I would say is probably 4 players, 4 or less. To me, that's a small group. And I'm not even I'm referring to a solo player. And when I hear players say, well, you need to put this on to have the deeps. I post everything that I do in this game. Some clips that I post, some people might think it's not post worthy, but I think otherwise. I post things that I think interesting and gives a particular side of my progression. They might look at me fighting a guy, and the guy, they don't know how really good the guy is. The guy could probably beat 95 to 98% of the ESO PvP community, and they'll look at it and be like, well, you don't have the deeps, and that's the problem. DPS in Cyrodiil, especially if you're a solo player, is probably 33% or even less than that. I'm giving it 2 because you have to, 1, think about your survivability, 2, think about your resource management, 3, which I think is very, very important, think about your combo, your burst potential. How often are you able to land it? Right? You can have the best deeps in the world, and if a player pressures you and you're not able to do that, and you have to get to your defensive measures, then that's problematic for you. And so here's a perfect example of that. This guy hits me, and it's nothing against this particular player. This clip just showcases exactly what it is that I'm referring to. So you'll see me here, and this is the other side of the infamous bridge, right? And this guy hits me with everything. Everything. If it was my DK or my Nightblade, I would have done the same thing. I would go into my defensive measures, and then I would go into defense and then come back to hit him. And this guy hits me with everything. He hits me with the kitchen sink, but he has no defensive measures. I'm getting ready to start my burst, and this guy is still attempting to hit me with. He's not going into any defense, right? And this is a flawless conqueror. So you can't say, oh, it's a player that it's. You could say person probably bought the account. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't disrespect a player like that. This player is just solely into deeps. Everything is deeps. As you notice, I hit this guy with defensive measures. He gets up and he's still trying to hit me. Without going into any defensive measures, and that's the problem. Players just don't get that, and they see clips on ESO on YouTube, right? And they see these clips of these montage, and they're like, "Wow, that's what I want," and they don't understand. These players took some time to get those clips, right? And this is all speculation. And they put them together, and then they show them to you. They're showing their best clips. I don't do that. What I do is I show clips that I find to be interesting. It might be it might show me in a negative light. It might show me in a positive light. But I like to show people reality. though it's in a game. I like to show them, the different pros and cons to a class, and then how I progress through that class. But if every player is seeing, hey, this guy, he's putting out this montage, or she's putting out a montage, she's just blowing shit up, everything's destroyed, and you hear people like, well, hey, can you show me that build? Yes. Can you show me that build? Right? Can you show me that build? And then either the player chooses to show the build, or they to, keep it a secret. And that's fine. I think if you want to keep it a secret, that's your business. I tend to post my builds because there's nothing special about the build. What's special is about how you use the build. The build allows you to be competitive with all situations in Cyrodiil, and that's what I post. I post well-rounded builds that allow you to survive, that allows you to use your skill to burst, set up combos, and skills that allow you to pressure players. Like, for example, this Templar is a pressure Templar. I'm not on my back bar as often. I cannot spam honor the dead, because if I do, I don't get the resources back. You get 18% magic back. 18% of the cost of that skill, so you can't spam it, right? Of course, in situations you have to use it twice, and then the return is refreshed. But that's what I do. I'm on my back bar to set up and then come back out, and I do have a get out of jail free card, right? I have a heal, but this Templar pressures. That's the goal of this Templar. That's why my stamina is at 14k. It's so I can pressure a player and drain that player. That's the point of this build. I don't have Scoria. I don't have any procs. And you saw me use one proc. Someone asked me, hey, can you test this? And I did it. Of course, man. I'm not gonna be like, hey, nah, can't test it. And that's the point of this build. And I show every aspect of it. I'm actually coming out with an update to the build, and it'll change it a bit, but you still have the same burst potential, you still have the survivability, and you still have the ability to pressure players. So just keep in mind, when you see players about, deeps and this is what you need, think about what it is that they're saying. Are they saying it from a standpoint of a solo player, or are they saying it from a standpoint of being in a group? Because if you're in a massive group, or you're in a group of more than 4 players, even if you're in a group of 4 players, you have those players to kind of take off the focus from you. I don't have that. So my build has to be well-rounded. And some players beg for your appreciation of said build. I'm just here to explain that sometimes you have to take everything into consideration before you make a build to play solo. Anyway, this is the one and only Despotic.